Hello, brothers, and welcome to Sigma Old Man Channel. You can lie to everyone else, just don't insult a Sigma male's intelligence. That's not advice, that's a warning. Because the truth is, you can put on your best act, rehearse your stories, flash a charming smile, and fool half the planet. But a Sigma male will sit there, quiet, calm, and still know exactly who you are. Here's a fact that might sting. According to psychology studies, people lie in at least 1 out of every 3 conversations. But Sigma males, they don't just hear lies, they detect motive. They're not watching your mouth. They're studying your patterns, your inconsistencies, the way your energy drops when you're not getting attention. And while you're still on paragraph 1 of your performance, he's already reached the last chapter of your personality. What makes it worse? He won't call you out. He won't argue. He won't even flinch. He'll just mentally file you under fake, avoid, delete. And you'll never know you were disqualified before the game even started. So today we're diving into how Sigma males see right through you. Not metaphorically, not spiritually. We're talking razor-sharp observation, forensic emotional analysis, and a 6th sense for spotting masked intentions. It's not magic, it's just terrifying awareness. And if you're not ready to be seen, this might get uncomfortable. Let's get into it, if you dare. Number 1, he checks how you react when you don't get what you want. He checks how you react when you don't get what you want. That's when the real version of you shows up, unfiltered, unscripted, and often not so pretty. Most people are charming when things go their way. They're patient when they're being heard, kind when they're praised, and understanding when they feel in control. But Sigma males know that none of that counts. What truly reveals someone's character is how they act when the answer is no, when the door doesn't open, when the attention isn't handed over on a silver platter. He watches closely in those moments when you're not getting the outcome you expected. Do you guilt trip? Do you become passive-aggressive? Do you act like you're fine but suddenly withdraw just enough to punish the other person emotionally? That's what he's paying attention to. Not the words, not the performance, your reaction, because reactions aren't rehearsed. They expose emotional patterns that even you might not be aware of. If you're used to manipulating situations to work in your favor and it suddenly doesn't go that way, the mask slips. And when it does, he doesn't just see the crack, he studies what was hiding behind it. Entitlement, control issues, fear of rejection, maybe even a full-blown need to dominate outcomes under the label of honesty or communication. Whatever it is, he notes it quietly and without judgment, but with absolute clarity. What makes it worse is he won't warn you. He won't argue. He won't even flinch. You might think everything's fine. Meanwhile, he's already withdrawn his trust. He's mentally labeled you as someone who only plays fair when they're winning. And to him, that's not someone worth building with. That's someone to avoid, calmly, completely, and permanently. You'll never know the moment it happened. There's no drama, just distance. And it all came down to how you handled not getting your way, because for a Sigma male, that's the ultimate X-ray. That's when you're not performing. That's when your ego steps in to defend its territory. And that's when he sees exactly what he needs to know. No words required. Number 2, he doesn't listen to your words. He tracks the gaps in your logic. He doesn't listen to your words. He tracks the gaps in your logic. You could be pouring your heart out, telling the most dramatic story ever, adding all the emotion, all the flair. But if the facts don't align, if the timeline is shaky, or if your story smells even slightly like emotional manipulation, a Sigma male catches it instantly. Most people get away with emotionally charged narratives because the average listener is too focused on the tone, the tears, or the theatrics, but not him. He's not listening to how you're saying it. He's measuring why you're saying it and what doesn't add up. The second your story takes a detour that doesn't make logical sense, he's already done calculating. You could still be talking, still trying to wrap it in emotional packaging, but in his mind he's already dissected the weak spots and filed the whole thing under emotionally biased, potentially deceptive, highly strategic. And it's not because he's cold or heartless, it's because he refuses to be mentally manipulated. He's immune to fluff. He doesn't get pulled in by big emotions unless the logic holding it up is solid. So while you're passionately defending yourself or painting yourself as the misunderstood hero, he's quietly analyzing whether the pieces fit. And if they don't, he won't challenge you. He won't even tell you what he found. but you can be sure he's already adjusted how he sees you. To him, inconsistency isn't just a flaw, it's a sign of either dishonesty or self-delusion. And either way, he'll never take your words at face value again. Number 3, he watches how you treat people who can't do anything for you. He watches how you treat people who can't do anything for you. That's where your real character shows up. You can be as polite and polished as you want when you're around people you're trying to impress. But a Sigma male is studying how you act when no advantage is on the line. If you speak down to someone who's serving you, ignore messages from people you no longer need, or fake your way through conversations with someone you secretly look down on, it doesn't matter how well you're treating him, he's already made up his mind. You're not genuine, you're strategic. He doesn't fall for social masks, and he's allergic to performative kindness. To him, kindness only counts when there's nothing in it for you. When you're nice because you are kind, not because it benefits your image, keeps people loyal, or makes you feel superior. So the second he sees that your respect is selective, your empathy is conditional, or your good behavior is tied to status, he mentally exits the building. No confrontation, no announcement, just quiet disconnection. And here's the brutal part. You won't even notice he's done with you. Because while you're busy playing polite in the spotlight, he's observing how you behave in the shadows. He knows that anyone can treat a boss with respect. It's how you talk to the janitor, the Uber driver, or the person who has nothing to offer you. That's the raw footage. And if that footage reveals arrogance, coldness, or superiority masked as boundaries, then congratulations. You just failed the test you didn't even know you were taking. To the Sigma male, realness matters more than charm, and once he sees you're only kind when it serves you, he stops believing in your whole act. Number 4, he doesn't get distracted by beauty. He studies your hunger. He doesn't get distracted by beauty. He studies your hunger. You could walk in with a face that turns heads and a body sculpted by filters and gym memberships, but a Sigma male won't flinch. He might acknowledge the aesthetics, but he doesn't get pulled in. What grabs his attention is what you crave behind the beauty. He's not drawn to the packaging, he's decoding the energy it's covering up. If your confidence is just a performance, if you shine on the outside, but secretly need every room to validate your worth, he clocks it before you even speak. He picks up on the subtle desperation, the way you wait for reactions after speaking, the constant need to be complimented, the way you fish for attention without making it obvious. And while others may admire you, fall for the confidence act, or compete for your attention, he sees the hunger behind it, the hunger to be seen, to be liked, to be praised. And to him, that's more revealing than anything you're actually saying. What's worse is that if your beauty is your weapon, he's immune to it. You could flirt, flash a smile, turn on the charm, but if it's all just a mask to distract from emptiness or insecurity, he'll see right through it. Not because he's arrogant, but because he's trained himself to look past the surface. While most people are chasing the shiny object, he's asking, why do you need to be chased so badly? And if he senses that your beauty is being used as currency to gain validation, power, or control, he instantly disengages. It's not that he hates beauty, it's that he refuses to fall for what's behind it if it's rooted in neediness. Confidence that's quiet, self-sustained, and not looking to be fed, that intrigues him. But beauty that masks emotional hunger, that just reads as noise. And he doesn't do noise. Number 5. He knows the version of you that exists when you're not trying to impress anyone. He knows the version of you that exists when you're not trying to impress anyone. That quiet, unfiltered version of you, the one that slips out when you're off guard, not performing, not curating your every word, is the one he actually sees. While everyone else might be hypnotized by your charisma, your aesthetic, or your ability to play whatever social role is needed, the Sigma male bypasses all that. He watches who you are when the spotlight's off, when you're not trying to charm, lead, win, or even be liked. He notices the way you talk to yourself when you think no one can hear. He catches the micro-expressions when you're irritated, jealous, or insecure, but trying to hide it under a smile. He pays attention to your energy when you're alone in a room. Do you become anxious without attention, or do you actually enjoy your own company? He's not decoding your outfits, your captions, or your social moves. He's decoding your unmasked frequency, the you that emerges in silence, in boredom, in disappointment. What most people don't get is that Sigma males aren't interested in the best version of you. They're interested in the realist version of you. The one who's not checking a mirror, not waiting for applause, not thinking 2 steps ahead. And the irony? Most people never even realize they're being observed like that. They assume because he's quiet, he's not paying attention, but he is deeply, silently, and with brutal clarity. So while you're focused on impressing the room, posting the best version of your life, or playing the high-value game, he's already seen the raw footage. The version of you when the mask slips, when the energy drops, when you stop performing, and he decides based on that. Not the you present, but the you that accidentally leaks out in between the performances. That's the version that tells him everything, and it's the only version he trusts. Number 6, he recognizes your need for control disguised as love. He recognizes your need for control disguised as love. You might call it caring, say you're just being helpful, that you're looking out for others. But a Sigma male sees the strings attached, even when they're wrapped in the softest words. When someone is constantly giving, fixing, sacrificing, and showing up for everyone, it can look like pure love to most. But to him, it looks like a currency exchange. He sees the trade-off: attention for loyalty, guilt for obedience, giving for control. He knows when love isn't love, it's leverage. And he knows when being there for people isn't about generosity, but about feeding a deeper need to feel useful, central, and irreplaceable. That kind of need doesn't feel like love to him. It feels like a trap, a setup, a slow-burn manipulation disguised as care. Because the moment someone doesn't react the way you hoped, the moment they don't give you the recognition or dependency you silently expected, that unconditional love suddenly becomes cold, distant, or resentful. Sigma males don't respond to emotional transactions. They don't play the "look how much I do for you" game. If you're showing up for people just to earn a spot in their life, he knows you're not loving them, you're managing them, and he knows exactly why. Because if you can keep everyone needing you, you never have to feel unwanted. You never have to deal with rejection. You never have to face the fear of being ordinary. That kind of masked neediness doesn't make him feel cared for. It makes him feel watched, controlled, boxed into someone else's idea of love, and that's exactly when he starts to pull away. Not because he doesn't value care, but because true love isn't about being needed, it's about being free. If your love comes with silent expectations, emotional IOUs, or the pressure to be permanently grateful, he's already clocked it. And just like that, he's out, calmly, respectfully, and without a single emotional receipt. Number 7, he spots when your confidence is a performance stitched together from other people's validation. He spots when your confidence is a performance stitched together from other people's validation. You might walk into the room like you own it, head high, voice steady, all the external signs of someone who knows their worth. But to a Sigma male, it's not about how you walk, it's about how you react when you're not being worshipped. He notices the subtle panic when you're not the center of attention, the way your tone changes when someone critiques you, the little insecurity twitch when you don't get the usual praise. That's when he knows this confidence wasn't self-built, it was assembled piece by piece from compliments, approval, applause, and carefully curated social feedback. He's not fooled by flawless posture and practiced charm. He doesn't care about how many people follow you, admire you, or validate your every move. He cares about whether you need that validation to feel real. And when he sees your energy shrink just because someone isn't impressed, that's all he needs to see. Real confidence doesn't beg for agreement. It doesn't collapse under silence. It doesn't get shaky when someone has a different opinion. To him, confidence that's dependent on outside approval is just another mask. And masks don't interest him. He's looking for someone who knows who they are without a spotlight. Someone who doesn't crumble when they're questioned. Someone whose self-worth isn't a group project. What makes it worse is that most people performing confidence don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're empowered, independent, unbothered, but their mood is still tied to how others respond to them. Sigma males catch this dissonance immediately, and once they do, no amount of attitude, sass, or swagger can distract them from the truth. He doesn't want your performance, he wants your baseline, the part of you that stays grounded whether people praise you, ignore you, or walk away. And if that part doesn't exist yet, he's already emotionally checked out quietly, permanently, and with no need for explanation. Number 8, he spots the people you imitate without you knowing. He spots the people you imitate without you knowing. That influencer whose style you just like, that thought leader whose words you repeat like they're your own. You think you're just being inspired? But to a Sigma male, it's clear as day. You've pieced yourself together from fragments of other people's personalities. And the worst part, you don't even realize it. You've been exposed to so much curated content, so many opinions dressed up as truths, that now you confuse borrowed identity with authenticity. But he doesn't. He sees the way your vocabulary shifts depending on who you're around. He notices how your opinions always sound like they're freshly recycled from whatever book, podcast, or trend is hot that week. He tracks how your sense of humor, your values, your vibe, all of it, changes slightly depending on what space you're in. And while most people nod and smile, impressed by how put together you seem, he's already reverse engineering you like a code. And the blueprint? It's filled with other people's names. To him, originality is oxygen. He doesn't care if your outfit is perfect, if your aesthetic is flawless, or if your opinions are trending. He's allergic to echo chambers. So when he sees that your personality is more collage than core, he mentally detaches. Not because he expects perfection, but because he can't connect to someone who doesn't even know who they are without external input. You could quote every wise person in history, but if nothing you say feels lived, earned, or processed through your lens, it rings hollow to him. Sigma males don't bond over aesthetics or shared opinions. They bond over depth, over thought, over essence. And if yours is just a patchwork of influencers, authors, or personalities you admire, he's not judging, but he's not buying in either. Because imitation might fool the crowd, but it never fools someone who builds themselves from scratch. Number 9, he picks up patterns you didn't know you had. He picks up patterns you didn't know you had. Every conversation, every gesture, every flicker of your mood is a clue. And while you think you're just being yourself, he's already tracking the unspoken rhythm of your behavior. You might think you're being clever, adjusting your tone depending on the situation, or shifting your answers to please the person across from you. But to him, it's all data. He notices when you laugh a little too loudly in certain crowds, or when your confidence wavers in the same type of situation. He doesn't just hear your words. He watches the micro-patterns that dance between them. You may say the same thing 3 different ways, but he'll hear the inconsistency. Flinch at the same type of question over and over, and he'll notice the hesitation. Maybe you adjust your posture around certain people, speak with more authority around others, or suddenly soften your tone when you're around someone with higher status. He connects the dots you didn't even know you were leaving behind, tracking your emotional responses like a detective putting together a case. What's more fascinating is how you don't even realize you're leaving these traces. You might think you're adapting, playing the social game, tweaking your behavior to fit in, but he sees it for what it is, a pattern, a subconscious loop you keep falling into without thinking. Every little tick, every shift in tone or gesture becomes a breadcrumb for him to follow. And before you know it, he's got a full picture of you, not based on the surface-level version you want him to see, but based on the unintentional truths you leave behind in your habits. He doesn't judge you for it. He doesn't need to. What matters to him is that he can see the truth in these patterns. The way you handle discomfort, react to authority, or even how you process failure, he picks up on it without a second thought. And the scariest part? He's not just aware of your patterns. He knows them better than you do. Number 10, he reads your pauses, not just your tone. He reads your pauses, not just your tone. When you hesitate before answering, he doesn't rush to fill the silence with guesses or assumptions. He lets it linger, watches you sit in it, and in that stillness, he finds the truth. Most people get uncomfortable with pauses in conversation. They try to break them, throw in filler words, or rush to make things flow again. But a Sigma male, he thrives in that space. Because it's in those moments of hesitation that the real you shows up, without the armor of carefully chosen words or rehearsed responses. He's not analyzing what you say in those moments. He's analyzing why you're saying it or why you're not. When you pause too long before answering, he doesn't assume you're thinking or formulating an intelligent response. He wonders if the pause is there because you're weighing the risk of telling the truth, trying to figure out how much to reveal, or calculating the safest answer. It's an opportunity for him to see whether you're lying, hiding something, or trying to manipulate the conversation. That brief moment, it tells him more about your internal world than any verbal exchange could. Fear, deceit, calculation, maybe all three. He'll notice the subtle shift in your energy, the way your eyes flicker, your hands tighten, or your body language becomes more rigid. He knows that silence often holds more than words do, especially when it's pregnant with tension. He can feel whether you're trying to project confidence or whether you're unraveling inside. And in a way, that pause becomes a mirror, reflecting your vulnerability, your uncertainty, your agenda, whether you intend it to or not. What others might overlook as awkward or uncomfortable, he understands as valuable information. The way you handle silence tells him how you deal with pressure, truth, and discomfort. And he's learned to read that silence the way others read books, page by page, sentence by sentence, with every pause offering a new chapter of insight. Number 11, he can feel when you're selling a version of yourself you don't live. He can feel when you're selling a version of yourself you don't live. You might craft a perfect image, smooth words, polished persona, but a Sigma male doesn't buy into the act. He's not impressed by what you say about yourself. He's paying attention to what you do. Your words are like a pretty facade, but your lifestyle, that's the foundation. And if there's a disconnect between the two, he feels it. He can tell when you claim one thing but live another. Say you tell everyone you crave peace, that you're all about balance and inner calm, but your world is a constant swirl of drama, chaos, and noise. He'll spot the inconsistency immediately. It's not the things you shout about, the hashtags you endorse, or the mantras you repeat. It's the fact that your actions speak louder than your carefully constructed narrative. You might wear the Zen mask, but behind it there's chaos. He doesn't even need to know the details. He just knows you're not living in alignment with what you preach. He recognizes the difference between being truly centered and being carefully curated. People who are genuinely at peace don't have to shout about it. It shows in their every move, their calm in the face of adversity, their refusal to engage in petty conflict. But when you're constantly surrounded by drama, yet talking about peace, it's like trying to sell someone a product you clearly don't use. That gap between what you project and how you actually live is glaring to him. To a Sigma male, authenticity is like oxygen. If you're not living what you claim, he picks up on it. He doesn't need to call you out on it. He just mentally checks out because the effort to sell a version of yourself doesn't resonate with him. Realness is magnetic. The curated version is forgettable. He can see right through your polished persona and knows it's not a reflection of who you truly are. And just like that, he's gone. No judgment, no lecture. Just a quiet exit from a version of you that never quite matches up. Number 12, he knows if your kindness is a currency. He knows if your kindness is a currency. Some people are genuinely kind because it's in their nature. No strings attached, no expectations. But for others, kindness is a transaction. They give a little to get a lot. Maybe it's attention, loyalty, or favors they're hoping for in return. To the untrained eye, it looks like simple generosity. To a Sigma male, it's crystal clear. He can feel the subtle exchange happening beneath the surface, and he knows when your kindness isn't about being kind, it's about securing a payout. It's a subtle game most people don't even realize they're playing, but to him, your smile, your kind words, your helpfulness, they all hold a hidden agenda. Are you nice because you genuinely care, or because you're looking to maintain leverage, gain favor, or keep someone in your debt? The Sigma male doesn't fall for the facade. He can sense when your kindness is a well-calculated move to gain something, and the moment he does, the dynamic shifts. He doesn't judge you for it. He just doesn't engage, because to him, true kindness is unconditional. It's a part of your character, not a tool in a social transaction. If he catches wind of the agenda beneath your kindness, you've already lost his trust. And that's something most people never even realize until it's too late. In the end, the Sigma male sees the world for what it truly is, layered, complex, and raw. He doesn't get lost in the surface-level noise. He's not fooled by shiny veneers or polished performances. He looks deeper, observing the unspoken truths, the cracks in the facade, the patterns that others ignore. For him, authenticity is everything. He doesn't need your validation, your approval, or your approval-seeking behavior. What he craves is the real, unfiltered version of you. And the best part, he doesn't have to tell you he sees through the act. He just quietly moves on, knowing that what matters to him isn't what you say, it's who you truly are when the mask comes off. In his world, the only thing that holds any weight is truth, and he's not interested in anything less. So if you're living in alignment with your words and actions, he'll recognize it instantly and connect with the essence of who you are. If not, well, he's already seen through you, and he's not sticking around for the performance. If you found this insight as intriguing as we know it is, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Drop a comment below. Let's hear your thoughts, questions, or anything you've got to add to the conversation. If this hit home, share it with someone who needs to see it. And hey, if you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Your support means everything and helps us bring more of the deep, real talk that really matters. Until next time, keep being unapologetically you.